Hi everyone, this is Man Jr.'s Gaming Chair, and today I want to talk about the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, in case you didn't know, Sega announced a joke video game back on April Fool's consisting of a murder mystery with the Sonic cast. However, unlike most April Fool's jokes pulled by the video game companies, the April Fool's joke was that this actually would go on to get developed and published for real. It's an actual game from Sega. You can in fact download and play. I've already completed it and it's actually very good. But anyways, I won't keep you waiting. Let's get right into what you need to know about the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, accessibility is kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to this game. While it's free, as I've stated before, it is only available to download on Steam as of now, not consoles. On a bright side, unlike most Steam games, if it helps, it is available on both Windows and Mac. I have a MacBook Air and it's not compatible with Windows Boot Camp Assistant, so this was extremely nice for me. One thing I gotta say about this game is how user-friendly it is. It is what they call a point-and-click visual novel. Very simple, very similar to the old computer games you'd find at the library as a kid. You'll be basically talking to characters and picking up clues or evidence to help you progress through the story. The game, I'd say, takes roughly 2 hours and 10 minutes to complete. I've seen most of full game walkthroughs on YouTube are a little over 2 hours and 10 minutes, while I completed it in 1 hour and 48. So not even too long. I suppose it depends on the person. And don't get scared, don't worry, there's no detective skills necessary to be able to complete this game. A lot of the events and problems will just need common sense, or you'll know, things will be obvious and taken slowly and easily. It's not like the game will ask you, oh, who breathed air standing next to the suspect with soil-type dirt on the shoe that was untied at exactly the 13th hour? Yes, military time on December 23rd, 1999. Also, was it the left or the right shoe? Occasionally, there will be parts where you will play more traditional Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay with the running, collecting rings, and avoiding enemies and obstacles. These use simply WASD or arrow keys to move, and then spaces jump. Sega themselves say in the game settings that these parts in particular were made with the average, more skilled Sonic the Hedgehog players in mind. So if these parts are to make the game unenjoyable and discourage the user experience, they have provided assist settings where you can adjust the difficulty of these parts to your liking. And I don't mean like, oh, easy, medium, hard. No, you can give yourself invincibility, or if that's too easy, then you can simply just ignore pitfalls. You can adjust the speed of the track running, and even adjust the percentage of rings required to complete a level. Aside from that, the rest of the game is as simple as dragging your mouse and clicking stuff. Graphics are very simple, nothing fancy. Obviously, there's no Unreal Engine Creative 2.0 content to be expected, just consisting of simple but crisp PNGs and stuff. Keep in mind, this is a visual novel after all, not a visual animation. Like, that's not our goal here. Honestly, it's not an issue to me. I've never really been a graphics guy, and to tell you the truth, absolutely adored the character and environment artwork and expressions over any other potential animation or whatever this game could have had. Now, this part's weird, because I want to say the story to this game is good, but I just can't get myself to spoil it. I feel it's best to begin this game as blindly as possible. I think the story's experience is just that good. If you want, you can watch my full playthrough when I get done uploading it to find out what happens, but I'll tell you some other things about it for now. There's a good chunk of twists and turns where the game will lead you to think one thing, but then something else clicks all of a sudden, all the way up to the ending. Now, one thing I can say though is the dialogue is great. I love games with a good story, so I heavily value good dialogue. Many times this game got me laughing out loud, sometimes even a little emotional. I don't even know why. I suppose the game did a good job with the characters' personalities and how they act or respond to certain things to the player and one another. This I've heard from other people that many of the Sonic games have failed to do in the past, so that makes sense. Now, I could be biased with this part because I got into music a while back, so call me out if that's the case, but I loved this game's soundtrack. Like, I want to remix some of the tracks, and I only do that with music that, like, passes my approval. which can be various things we're not going to get into in this video. From some stone cold tense music to just straight up groovy tracks, this game's soundtrack really executes its job well for a detective themed visual novel. I suppose the big whoop for the soundtrack is the fact, bear in mind, this game was free, hence had no right to go as hard as it did. So congrats to the composer, who deserves a raise. Now, the one criticism I'm aware a few people have about this game is what they call the replay value, the quality or fact of being suitable for or worth playing more than once. In other words, how many times you can play the game again after completing it and it still feels fun and new. This game isn't like Undertale or Doki Doki Literature Club, where the game gives you various options throughout it, changing up the ending you'll result with. In the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, there is a specific character in the cast that turns out to be the murderer, with a specific ending, and it is always that way each playthrough. No twists or turns, or any different ending from accusing Tails and Amy as murderers 3 playthroughs in a row, or anything like that. I swear Undertale has given me trust issues with video games now. In conclusion, honestly, I think the game was great. It's free, so there's really no loss trying it out other than your time, which, as I've stated before, the game doesn't take that long to play through. It's very user-friendly. I feel even anyone who doesn't traditionally play video games can give it a shot and see if they like it. Story and soundtrack were well executed. There was just so many wins for this game. And to think this was intended to be some silly free game for April Fools. I do hope we get perhaps yet another ironic surprise on April Fools again from Sega, or maybe even other companies who may catch on with releasing joke games for real rather than just the announcements for laughs. Guess we'll find out next year. I'm Man Jr. I hope to see you in future videos from me. Y'all take care.